risk assessment, and the risk assessment uses standard default scenarios that the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has developed. And they assume, and I'm not a risk assessment person, so don't quote me on what these scenarios are, but they make an assumption that a child is going to play in that stream 30 times a year. They're going to splash in it. They're going to get water in their mouths, so they're going to ingest this. And then, so what you've got to do is you make those scenarios, and then you calculate a risk. And if that risk exceeds a certain level, then now you have to treat that 1,4-dioxane. You have to remove it from the stream. And that's where you can't cost it. This municipality, there's very few municipalities that can afford to do that.
But in all fairness, after the $450,000 that we might spend, ABB would have to make a decision whether they wanted to clean it so that they could get active clearance, and so we would buy the property. I mean, in all fairness, that's our agreement with them, that they have to spend anything more than $450. So if it is millions to clean it, they're the ones that probably say, we're not going to do it, so then you walk away.
I have lots of comments about the agreement. My concern,
Yeah, that's why I'm not answering.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that comment about the agreement, but my concern would be that we spend years and years and years and hundreds and thousands or millions of dollars to never actually obtain Act 2 clearance. Then we spent all this time and all this money, not only ours, but ABB's, and we don't have a property at the end of the day anyways. So while I'm not at all opposed to cleaning up the property, I don't think that it should sit on the shoulders of the taxpayers.
I agree.
You have another?
Can I ask one more, or?
Go ahead.
So the testing you've done, has it all been on the property? Has there been any off-site testing?
All of the groundwater impacts are on property, so we don't need to go off property. The impacts in the stream are kind of half on property, half off, but we can go into the stream to get samples. So we haven't had the need to go off property other than to collect those surface water sediment samples from the little streams.
Presumably when they built the school, there would have been testing like this done, right? Before proceeding with building an elementary school. Yeah, but they tore that one down and built a new one, you would think.
I think that's unfortunately a question for the school board.
So that's a school board matter, not.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, we'd love to answer it. We don't believe there was anything, but we don't know for sure.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Andres Moniker, and I'm a Cecil resident. I had property in use for 8 years and still own that property. I don't currently live there, but I did live on Maple Street for 8 years and had a garden there. You just answered the question that you did not do core samples outside that parcel. There's a lot of people that have gardens on that Acorn Way, Maple Street right there. The concern is the groundwater is on a southward movement down for these residents that plant their garden. That stream is obviously going down to the baseball fields, to the church. That how is this affecting them? Because obviously it's up there, it's going to come down. So why wouldn't the core samples happen below?
Yeah, we actually looked at, there's a couple of gardens, actually somebody has a garden on the ABB property. And there we did look at that exposure route because absolutely constituents can they do what's called bioaccumulate, where a plant takes it up, you and I eat it, now we're dosed with whatever constituent it was. There were four parameters detected in groundwater samples located very close to those gardens. The 1,4-dioxane, that it doesn't biouptake. So even if, worst case, even if its a plant's roots are down inside of the groundwater, it's not going to come up into the plant, and the plant's not going to assimilate it, and then you and I eat that plant and be exposed to it. There were 3 other constituents that do bioaccumulate, but they're metals, and they're probably related to the coal mining. They're not, almost assuredly not related to the former usage of the CE cast portion. It's probably because you've got a bunch of constituents that are in strip mine spoil or deep mine spoil from coal mining And those three parameters that we detected in groundwater and surface water down by those mines, down by the gardens, that they're probably related to the former mining activity, not related to the CP gas property.
Well, then, since we know that, wouldn't it make sense that those residents should know about that? I mean, I know everybody releases metals on a different way, but I mean, my cousin has autism and he cannot release the metals in his body. So what if there was an autistic child that couldn't release the metals out of his body? Wouldn't it be common sense to tell those people that there are chemicals there to not play in the stream and not plant the garden and be a little bit careful there?
Actually, the gardens probably, the root systems, we looked at the depth of the groundwater in that area, and generally it's 4, 5, 6 feet below ground surface. The deepest root system for a typical vegetable plant is about 3 feet, 2 feet. So the bottoms of the plant roots generally are well above where the groundwater would be encountered. So it's pretty unlikely if you were to do a bioassay on those, on the plants, you were to do their metals content, I'd be really, really surprised if they had anything other than normal background levels of some of those three constituents.
Okay, that's garden and soil, but what about the streams?
The stream only has 1,4-dioxane, and that was the long, rambling discussion I had with the person right before you. The dioxane is in the stream. The gut feel of all of us that have looked at it is that they're within acceptable criteria, but that there would have to be a lot of work done before we could conclusively say that that's a true statement. But gut feel, we're all like, and the reason
It's acceptable on who? I mean, everybody reacts different to a chemical, so.
Well, EPA has what they call a health advisory of 200 parts per billion for 1,4-dioxane. The highest concentration in that stream was something like 64 parts per billion. So we're below for human health issues. It's the critters in the stream. Actually, you can have much, much lower allowable criteria for the critters in the stream. That's what we have to run the risk assessment for, is more critters. Human health, we're probably okay on because we haven't seen anything approaching allowable drinking water.
It's risky. It's still risky. I wouldn't want my kids going down there looking for crayfish or salamanders. I really wouldn't want that happening. I think the residents should be advised to not go in there. Well, I'm done.
Thank you, Jen.
Hello, my name is Kathleen Konechny, 1562 State Route 1080. First, thank you for being here tonight. This is very helpful to hear your comments. I also have heard about the barrels being thrown down in the mine. My dad's been gone 26 years, but he used to tell stories about seeing that happen. So I just wanted to make that comment. But my question has to do with the mine itself. Do we know the extent of how much water is in the mine?
It's flooded.
That's what I thought, because my dad did say it would have to be pumped out every day. So if it's completely flooded, and we do all of this work on it, how far down, because I have no idea, how far down is the mine? Is there a chance that we could do something to create surface damage that would cause, sinkage that would end up pushing that water somewhere else?
Yeah, you have mine subsidence, and I think Dan's probably a better one to talk to about mine
Okay.
subsidence. But it would be beyond my comprehension that you could do anything at the surface that would impact that mine pool. Even if you put, I don't care how big the building you put there, what would happen? Worst case, you put the Empire State Building on top of a piece of that property. You completely crush the mine roof. The worst that's going to happen is it's going to push a little bit of water because, again, the mine pool is, the transport in there is so fast. You put water at point A, it's nearly instantaneous, 500 feet away because there's so much void space. So you're not going to impact that mine pool. I don't care what you do. And I'll let Dan, who's actually knows far more about it than what I might not feel, talk about that.
Well, just from a geotechnical standpoint, which is the study of the earth and how it relates to foundations and so forth, the weight of a building on top of a surface like that is inconsequential relative to the rate of the soil above the mine. So there's, as Dave said, there's no chance that the weight of a building on the surface would cause any issue with a mine that deep.
Okay, because I know of a farmer who was on his tractor in the field when it dropped 10 feet on it.
Sure, the mine could drop, and that potential exists, but it wouldn't be influenced. What influences the drop of a mine is the quality of the rock that holds up the roof of the mine, because they didn't leave a lot of pillars in those mines.
No, it's bad in there.
Right, and there's clearance, so what happens is over time the rock degrades above it and doesn't act like a bridge anymore, and it just collapses inside. So that's where you see mine subsidence. It's really relative to that. But nothing on the surface, and again, given the depth of that mine, the risk for building on top of anything that deep is it's less based upon the amount of cover that's there.
Okay, and then I just have one other question, really about this slide. I did not know about the application for a grant for 1.9 million to remove the coal. Now, if we're only supposed to be paying 450,000, why are we asking for a grant of 1.9 million? Should not the company be taking care of that?
Well, the grant application was, just to be clear, the way to remediate the coal is to cover it with soil. That's the accepted way to deal with it. The coal pile wouldn't be hauled away. It would be graded and leveled and made more even as it sits right now, and it will be capped with soil. So that's number one. But the abandoned mine reclamation grant will pay for other things, including an access road and some other things that were available that can be done as a part of that grant. And and again, we're not here to talk about the sales agreement, is that whatever comes out of that grant would go towards the township's part of paying for their $450,000 part of the job.
Okay.
It first comes off the township, and then any other benefit goes to ABB and the clan.
And I'm not familiar with this company either, and I don't know how solid it is, if it is going to, once we do that part, claim bankruptcy, because I think this is going to be millions of dollars. And I just want to make sure that if we do go forward, that they are going to own up to their promise. What's going to stop them from a breaching contract? And here again, we're talking about a contract and we're not supposed to, so I really would appreciate having people come to a meeting where we could talk about the contract, and if we can legally get out. And I would find it awfully difficult to do that, unless as you said, there might have been a breach on their side. But if we stay in the contract, what's going to prevent them from claiming bankruptcy, and we are stuck?
ABB is and the only reason I'll answer is because we had a client a year and a half ago purchase one of their sites, and the exact question you just asked was one of our issues. ABB is a very large Swiss company. They're they're a huge company, very financially stable.
I know we're not supposed to talk about it, but it doesn't say in the contract ABB as successors or assigned, it just says ABB. So there's nothing to prevent ABB from being bought and sold, and then nothing would protect us in the contract.
But Kathy, to answer that though,
You're right.
we wouldn't actually close on the property until actual clearance is given. So ABB would have to do whatever they have to spend, whether it's $1 million or $500,000 or $3 million. If and when they spend that and get actual clearance, then we would close on the property. So we won't own it until the actual clearance is given. So technically, if they went out of business, they would already cleaned it up.